Hello children. Today I'd be starting with session 18 from the chapter Income from Business or Profession. In the previous two sessions, session 16 and session 17, I was discussing about the admissible expenses. Admissible expenses are those expenses that are allowed under the Income Tax Act, and if they are not debited to the profit and loss account, then they are supposed to be deducted from the net profit. Today we would be starting with inadmissible expenses. Inadmissible expenses are those expenses which are not allowed under the Income Tax Act. If such expenses are debited to the profit and loss account by the SSC, they should be added back to the net profit. I repeat, inadmissible expenses are those which are not allowed under the Income Tax Act, and if by chance if the SSC is debiting these expenses to the profit and loss account, then they are supposed to be added back to the net profit. So following are the few examples of inadmissible expenses. Any business expense paid in cash exceeding rupees 20,000. If the SSC has paid or paid any business income and that is paid in cash and it is exceeding rupees 20,000, 100% of such payment should be disallowed. 100% of the such payment shall be disallowed. Second one, bad debts still recoverable. So bad debts which have remained bad debts, which are remained bad debts are disallowed. They are treated as inadmissible expenses. Next, employees' contribution to the provident fund not paid on or before the due date of filing the returns. So if there are any contributions, employees' contribution to the provident fund and which is not paid on or before the due date of filing the returns, then that is also treated as inadmissible expenses. Next, you have betterment charges paid to corporation under Town Planning Act. If there are any betterment charges paid to the corporation by the SSC under the Town Planning Act, even that is also treated as inadmissible expenses and it is disallowed. Next, capital losses like loss on sale of machinery, loss on sale of car, etc. are also actually inadmissible expenses and they are supposed to be disallowed. Charities and donations showed as expenses. They are also inadmissible expenses and they are disallowed. Capital expenses like purchase of machinery, extension of building, cost of permanent signboard fixed on office premises. All these are the fixed expenses which are not supposed to be shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account. If such expenses are shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account, then they are supposed to be added to the profit and loss account, added to the net profit, and they are treated as inadmissible expenses and they are supposed to be disallowed. Contribution to staff welfare fund. Even here, this also is an expense that is inadmissible expenses and which is disallowed. Contribution to unapproved or unrecognized fund or political party. If the SSC has made any contribution to an fund or political party that is unapproved and it is not recognized, it is not recognized when it is not approved, and if any such contribution is made by the SSC to these funds or political parties, then that is also treated as inadmissible expenses and they are disallowed. Next, you have direct taxes like income tax, advance income tax, wealth tax, interest on loan taken for the payment of income taxes, etc. All these are inadmissible expenses and they are disallowed. Differences in trail balance. Any differences that has arisen in the trail balance, if it is shown on the debit side of the profit and loss account, then it has to be added to the profit and net profit and it is treated as inadmissible expenses and it is disallowed. Next, you have expenses relating to other heads of income like municipal taxes of house property, let out, etc. If the SSC has included any of the expenses relating to other heads of income like municipal taxes paid towards the house property which is let out by him, then that is also treated as inadmissible expenses under this head of income and it is disallowed. Expenses incurred to earn tax-free incomes like cultivation expenses. Even these are inadmissible expenses. If they are treated in the profit and loss account, they should be added to the net profit and they are disallowed. Excess depreciation. Any excess depreciation incurred by the SSC, if it is considered in the profit and loss account, that is also inadmissible expenses and it is disallowed. So in this session we have discussed about few inadmissible expenses. Inadmissible expenses are those expenses which are not recognized and allowed under the income tax act. If such expenses are debited to the profit and loss account, then they are supposed to be added back to the net profit. With this, I end this session. Thank you.